Hey guys, what is up? This is Me once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it's going to be on Hollow Knight Silksong. I know I made a video last week giving my thoughts on the game, but I have finished the game and now I can finally talk about it. And the game's been out for 2 weeks. And when it launched, it literally crashed the servers because people were ready for this game. It was announced all the way back in February of 2019, and now it has finally come out on September 4th, 2025. And this game being a direct sequel to Hollow Knight, where you play as Hornet, where she explores the world of Farloom, where she uncovers deep mysteries as she tries to solve them throughout, along with meeting a bunch of NPCs along the way. They'll give you quests that you can do, which are optional, but you're going to need to do a lot of them if you want to get the true ending. Of course, just like the first game, it's a 2D Metroidvania where a lot of enemies are going to be coming after you. You have to explore the world to get good enough gear to go up against these enemies, and gruelingly difficult boss battles, just like with the first game as well. Now, when I made my video giving my thoughts on the game so far, I haven't finished Act 1, and the game's divided into 2 acts. The reason why I gave my thoughts early was because I wasn't sure if I was going to review the game, just due to how difficult it was. Like, the last judge boss, not only is the boss itself difficult, but its run back is even more difficult. Okay, well not quite as difficult as the boss, but yeah, so I had to take a break from it, and I started playing Borderlands 4, but as I was thinking about it, I just could not let it slide. I had to finish this game, and I wanted to talk about it on my channel. Whether it was a thoughts video, or, you know, a full in-depth review, I decided to do both, because I have so much more to say after finishing Act 3. So here's what I did. I heard that there were mods to make the game easier, except they were only for PC, and I'm not really a PC gamer. I only use my laptop for when I edit videos. But because this is an indie game, I was able to make an exception. So I installed the game on PC, started from scratch, and I installed those mods. Now, yes, technically that's cheating because this game is supposed to encourage players to want to try and get better, but so many people have been mad about the game because of it, though not so mad where they just review bomb the game. Thankfully, a lot of players have been happy with this game, and I was happy with this game as well. The reason why I added mods into the game was in case I just couldn't take it anymore, because these bosses, oh man, the difficulty spikes are everywhere. It literally puts you into the difficulty as soon as the game boots up. Like during the first act, it gives you exactly what to expect. And as soon as it starts giving you that sense of difficulty, you knew it was going to get much more chaotic when it gets to the second act and the third act. Because, oh man, this game was definitely dedicated more who were familiar with the first game, who managed to 112% everything in that first game. And that original game, I knew I had to beat it before playing this game. And I did. I didn't get the true final boss. I did play enough of it where I can call the game a masterpiece, which it is. Team Cherry has definitely outdone themselves with that one game that they made that became an absolute sensation. So there was a lot of hype. I shouldn't really be saying there's a lot of hype surrounding this because it's a cliche thing to say. It was hyped beyond belief. And now that the game is fully out, do I think it is worthy of that hype? Definitely. Though I'm going to warn you, it's not going to be satisfying for every fan. I honestly should have expected this to be more hard than the original, because clearly these people, they knew how to bring a good challenge. Like, if you thought From Software was hard when it came to its difficulty, oh man, you have not played Silksong. Though you probably have, because like I said before, everybody's been playing it. But let's just ignore the difficulty for a second and just talk about the gameplay itself, because man, it manages to do so much. The biggest thing that this game is going for in terms of the gameplay are these things called crests. And when you use these crests, they have like their own different moveset. And when you use crests, there are like there are charms, you know, the charms that you get from the first game where you can add a bunch of them at a time. It's more restrictive this time around. You really have to figure out which one will suit your playstyle the best. And the fact that there are like 6 crests to choose from, it always manages to save your build in case you want to switch it out for another one, which I think is always a blessing. There's always a unique build for helping out your character along the way, because you're definitely going to have to try mastering it. Even if you have a good build, you still have to, try your best and memorizing every single enemy patterns, because yeah, these enemies can do crazy amounts of damage if you're not careful. Now, the way damage works is if you get hit, you lose these things called mass shards, but they boosted that up, where most of the enemies and almost all the bosses will take 2 of them off. And as far as I know, there's not like a charm you can use to, prevent that from happening. The only way you can prevent that from happening is, of course, if you do the PC mods. But people can play how they play. Like, just don't get mad at someone because they're not playing the way you want to play it. Because as long as people have ways of enjoying the game, then I feel like that's what matters the most. Though there were a couple bosses that have been nerfed, which did piss off some players because as far as I know, it was because it was one of the more easier bosses rather than the more difficult ones. But still, I hope they don't nerf any more of the bosses, in my opinion, because man, despite the fact that they are challenging, they still can be very rewarding. Like, there are so many optional bosses. Of course, you got the main bosses, but there are so many other bosses that are scattered throughout the game that you can also go up against as well. But when it comes to the bosses, each one feels so unique when it comes to the creative ways of going after you. Because you really gotta, memorize your pattern. But the more you memorize the pattern, the better you'll do. It's just like with Cuphead, which is a game that I did manage to beat. It took me 6 years to beat that game, but I finally managed to beat it. It's just like with that, only far more difficult. In fact, it might be more difficult than Cuphead. And Cuphead, you couldn't even heal during that game, but you can heal. And be careful when you're healing, because if you're trying to heal yourself and an enemy hits you, it's going to completely get rid of that. So you really got to be careful when it comes to the gameplay. Like, time your moves just right, heal at the right moment, but that's what makes it all the more encouraging when it comes to the difficulty spikes. And speaking of difficulty spikes, and it's definitely going to be painful when you run into a scenario where you're fighting a boss and there's a really long run back. It's still always, encouraging to know what exactly you could do better instead of, just whining about it. Because what Team Cherry has done here is really just showing players what they can be capable of in terms of how they can take off against these big baddies. Because you're going to be exploring the world throughout, and let me tell you, this game, the map, it makes Hollow Knight 1's map look as it makes it look teeny tiny. It's just, okay, so here's Hollow Knight's map, and here is Silksong's map. There's always a new area to explore. Just when you think you have explored everything, there's always another area that you accidentally opened up that you have to go through now if you want 100% everything. But there always seems to be a good reason to want to go back to those areas, because you're going to be backtracking a lot. Of course, it does encourage backtracking because most Metroidvanias do require that. But because the art style is so gorgeous, it was like that for the first game, but right here they added so many details. Like, every time you kill an ant, those little other little ants will take the dead bodies and just, take them away. It was really cool. There's always those unique details throughout the game that just, it shows that so much talent was put into this game. From the art style to the music, which was also phenomenal, as well as the game luring you in when it comes to these characters. I enjoyed doing the quests that they had to give me, despite some of them being fetch quests. Some of them are also rescue quests that I also had fun doing. Some of them also require you to fight certain bosses, as well as other challenges too. But of course, the challenges are what's really going to push players off, especially since some of them will remind them of the Path of Pain from the first game a little bit. But that's the best thing about it. It's the fact that, there was so much content that was put into this game, and once you beat Act 2, you do reach the credits, but don't let that fool you, because there is another act you can do if you do almost all the side missions. And that's why I could have done my review after I'd done the credits, because when it comes to reviewing video games, I always want to beat the game first, or at least make it to the credits before doing my review, because there was a time where I used to, play a game for a few hours, then review it, even though I missed so much of, the content that I just, yeah, I don't do that anymore. I want to beat the game first before reviewing it. If I don't beat the game, I don't feel like I can review it. Unless it's for like a multiplayer game or something. But I just wanted to do Act 3 before getting this review out. And it was absolutely worth it. Though I will say, no spoilers about the final boss, but I prefer the end boss in Act 2. Because I feel like that gave... I felt like there was a lot more going for that boss. Because the last boss in Act 3 is kind of a darker version of another boss that you fought. It's tough, absolutely, but I feel like that's kind of one of the game's more weaker sides. And in terms of other weaker sides that the game has, it has to be early on where, while now look, I'm not complaining about the game being too challenging, but I will say this. The game definitely needed better items during the first act, because you can't even upgrade your nail until you beat a certain boss, but that's towards the end of Act 1. And even once you beat Act 1, and once you manage to upgrade your nail the first time, you're not going to be able to upgrade again until you at least reach Act 2, which was a bit of an annoyance, because, the fact that a lot of the time we had to, fight off against these enemies, these really tough bosses in the beginning of the game without a whole lot of upgrades, it was kind of annoying to get through. But hey, the game managed to get better along the way, especially with these new abilities. There's this cloak ability where Hornet can float in the air, and there's the grapple feature, which was seen in the gameplay. As well as this other one that you get in Act 3, where Hornet can go up to the sky, and of course there's the double jump. Yeah, I feel like they definitely do more to Hornet when it comes to her abilities. And the more you explore the world while using these abilities, the better I feel like players will manage to get, knowing exactly what's coming and knowing exactly, when to use these moves. Because that's exactly the thing about these games that I love the most. It's the fact that it makes you feel like you're getting better at the game and learning exactly what you have to do throughout. Is the game brutal? Absolutely. Does the game feel like it's too unfair? Sometimes, but not too unfair where I just wanted to completely give up on it. And I know, this is coming from a guy who used mods, but I only had them on if I couldn't take it. But, when I didn't have them on and did manage to beat some of these bosses, I got more out of it. So yeah, the game is difficult as hell, but the game still manages to deliver a great experience, especially with the amount of lore that it brings in. From the amount of content that the game manages to have, the game will take roughly around 24, 25 hours if you want 100% everything. Or it might take even longer, given how many times you've died. But there is so much to this game, so many quests to do, and the fact that there's another act you can unlock that's pretty much like built-in DLC, already added in. But you want to know what the best thing about it is? It's the fact that the price of this game, is $20. $20 for a game, a new game in 2020. Oh my. Again, $20 for this, while Nintendo charges $80 for Mario Kart. And this game has far much more content. I mean, I liked Mario Kart World, but oh man, there's no reason why that game needed to be $80. And we're living in a day and age where there are so many other games that are just, okay with having that price and thinking that, it should be the new normal. But the fact that games like this and Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 aren't asking for a huge price tag, and the fact that they're games that are already finished and don't really feel like they need anything new added to the game. But the fact that they release these games fully finished, because it feels finished. The game runs super smoothly, and I don't have a powerful laptop for gaming. I mean, there were a few times where it was hard for me to boot the game up, but in terms of, the gameplay itself, it runs super smoothly. Like, there wasn't ever a time where the game crashed or broke for me. That goes to show how much love Team Cherry has put into this game. And the reason why this game took forever to come out wasn't due to delays or production issues. It's the fact that they wanted to take their time with this game and making it as best as they possibly could. And I think it really managed to pay off. You will hate yourself while playing the game, but you'll also love it when you do manage to make progress, because it is very encouraging. The world is absolutely stunning. The gameplay is absolutely addicting. Getting these new upgrades are absolutely what make the gameplay feel not so repetitive and just makes it feel all the more fun. These bosses, they're tough, but they're absolutely rewarding. And in the end, guys, Silksong, I was absolutely satisfied in the end. I had so much fun exploring the world of Farloom. I had a great time with these quests. I loved these characters despite them not having a whole lot of screen time. And the game just managed to get better and more deep as it went on. And even though it is extremely difficult, some of the best games to come out in recent memory are also really difficult. Last year's Black Myth Wukong, which was almost everybody's game of the year. My pick was Astrobot, but hey, I still think Black Myth Wukong's a great game too. What else? Cuphead, Sekiro, Lies of P, all those are beloved games that get a great amount of praise despite their challenge. So, yes, it's a hard game, but it's still a great one. For some players who expected less of a challenge and wanted more ways to play without having to use mods will be disappointed, but for old-comers who expected a very big challenge definitely won't be disappointed. As for me, I expected this to be an absolute work of art, another work of art from Team Cherry. It may be difficult, but the gameplay is fun, the lore is amazing, the art style, once again, is terrific, the abilities that you get to make the game feel even more fresh. It's a lot more than just feeling like Hollow Knight 1.5, but actually feeling like a sequel that does justice to its predecessor in almost every single way, and I think it is definitely worth the hype. I'm not sure if I would say this is better than the first game just due to the fact that, while that game's hard, it is a little bit easier to get into. But, hey, I recommend playing that game first before going into this one, because then you'll understand more when it comes to the challenge. If I were to rate both games, this is what I would give the first game. So while I think this game, Silksong, definitely does things better, for now, I think I would have to say I like the first game just a little bit more. But it's just gonna take some time for me to think. It might change, but as of right now, here's my rating for Silksong. It is definitely one of the best games to come out this year. And there are already so many other games that I gotta get working on later down the line. Right now I'm playing Borderlands 4, but I have so many other games on my list. Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, the new Pokemon, Hyrule Warriors Age of, what was it called, Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, which is finally coming out, and oh my god, the list goes on. Ghost of Yotai, the new Silent Hill, just oh man, the end of the year is gonna be wild. But yeah, definitely play the game. It's out on every single console, and hey, if you don't have $20 but you have Xbox Game Pass, it's on Game Pass as well. Definitely play it if you're a fan of Hollow Knight. I feel like it's more dedicated for the fans rather than newcomers. But either way, it's an awesome game, and I highly recommend playing it. Just because it's extremely hard doesn't make it a bad game, okay? But I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. Bottom line is, I had a great time playing this game, and I'm happy that I was able to finish it. I may have cheated a little bit, but I do kind of feel bad for it, but at the same time I don't, because I still got those other games. But yeah, let me know. Were you satisfied with the game? Do you think the game's too hard? Did you think it was hard enough? I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be out of town this weekend because my birthday is coming up, and I'm going to try seeing him. But yeah, as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description. And I'll see you guys later. Word out.